Welcome back. I'd like to spend a little time on the really basic entry point to increased self-awareness. Self-awareness has to do with being really clear on what I'm about, what I am. Not necessarily who I am. Who I am is a name and an address and a tax number, I'm sure. The what I am is the key place. To get connected with that, I need to notice myself. And when I say notice myself, I mean just simply notice. So I use this sign often. Simply notice. And what that means is, when I see something in myself, no concern, no need to analyze it, to figure it out, but rather to simply notice that, this is what's in me, this is what's poking at me, driving me, encouraging me, holding me back, whatever it might be. To simply notice that allows me to choose my next steps more clearly. The other trap with simply noticing, other trap that keeps me from simply noticing, is I judge what I notice. I label it. I make it right or I make it wrong. Maybe I congratulate myself on seeing it, so I make myself right, or maybe I beat myself up for having it, so I make myself wrong. Analyzing, figuring out, and labeling are two ways to miss the opportunity and the beauty and the power of simply noticing. The third way to lose the bubble on the simply noticing is to run away, to see a thought of some kind, to either analyze or judge it very quickly and then to move on to another thought. Don't want to think about that. So it's like that la 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 of a little kid. Something I notice about myself and I decide I just can't handle it, so I run away. Run away with my thoughts. There's a power in staying with what's simply noticed. By simply noticing it and being with it and watching it unfold, watching it move around, I start to understand something about myself that I didn't understand before. Example. I notice that it's very important to me to be out of bed by a certain time. Okay. So I notice that there's a lot of pressure on me if I wake up and look at the clock and it's past that certain time. I notice that. And I just watch it. And what it does to me. So what it does to me to be 10 minutes later than this somehow arbitrarily chosen time is it takes me down spiral. I start to beat up on myself. I tell myself that I've missed something. I tell myself that I'm losing it. I tell myself that I'm getting old. I tell myself what might be. And not much of it's positive. So if I can notice the thought without getting hooked by it, I can actually watch it go by and I can smile. And I can stop the down spiral. And it's kind of like letting it exhaust itself. If someone throws a punch and there's no resistance to the punch fades out. It has no effect. These thoughts that I'm able to simply notice and let them spend themselves while I'm smiling don't hurt me. They're simply there. And in fact, the more I can do that, the happier I become. And the more self-aware I become, the more gentle I am with myself. And when I'm self-aware and gentle about it, I'm a lot happier. And that happiness is good for me, and it's good for the people around me. It flows together. There's also something else that happens is, after a while of simply noticing, I learn that there are other options, that I allow myself other options. So what's happening now, after a little while, a few times, it's 10 minutes past this arbitrarily decided boundary time. I see the clock and I go immediately to the smile place. Now what's wrong with that picture? Well, one could say you've now just undone decades of discipline, and you've abdicated your responsibility to yourself, you've let yourself down, and all those kinds of things. Well, yes, I mean, one could take that approach, couldn't one? And on the other hand, we could take another approach, and we could know that things have changed over the decades. And what was vital, important, and absolutely pleasurable 20 years ago is no longer as important. It's no longer as vital and is no longer as pleasurable. And in fact, I allow myself to notice that I've changed. And I can do that with grace. But if I don't simply notice, if I stay in the analysis place, if I stay in the judging and labeling place, or if I refuse to address the issue and I run away with my thoughts, mask it over, pretend it's not there, go into denial, if you will, it stays with me and it continues to hurt me. So simply noticing is very easy to say, not necessarily easy to do. But try it. Try it with something small. And I assert that something happens after a while of simply noticing. That notice changes into this kind of notice. A notice with knowing. I start to know things. And when I notice in this way, that's wisdom. That's increasing my ability to interact with the world. And it's on the path to greater happiness. And if we're not on the path to greater happiness, what are we doing? If I'm not on the path to greater happiness, what are we doing? Simply notice. I recommend it. I do it myself. I tell 2 friends every chance I get. It's actually the only entry point to any real learning about yourself, is to simply notice yourself. Thank you.